One more hand fabricated piece for a cool custom vehicle. Alright guys, we got some power steering hoses that we can get put on this thing. So ended up having a place here in town build these. They build a lot of industrial hoses for tractors and excavation stuff. So they put some fittings in, got me the right fittings to hook up to the power steering rack, and we used the old hose to hook up to the pump. So that's why we have a union here, but it'll work really good. Super heavy duty hose, so we don't have to worry about that stuff in the future. So anyways, we'll get these bolted on, and then we'll kind of know how much room we have, if we can put our brake booster master cylinder up here in the front, or if we're gonna have to figure out a bunch of weird stuff to mount it back behind the pedals. But for now, let's get these thrown in, and then we'll start on mounting brake stuff. So like I said, we just took the original power steering hose off this pump, cut the end of it off, measured the length that we needed to extend it, and then got an extra piece of hose hooked up to it. So we'll tighten that up, get it hooked up down here, and then do the return line, and our power steering system will be complete other than fluid. Our return line actually goes on this back fitting, so I'm going to get it mounted to the rack here first so that we have more room to get tools in. Oof. So our pressure line goes to the front fitting, and it has the least amount of room. So I'm going to get it hooked up first. Pressure port. Install here. Okay. I mean, it feels kind of tight, but I don't know. Get another bite on it. I think it's tight, but to be for sure, I'm going to loosen these hard lines, pull them off so I can get in on that. That way we don't have to worry about it. We'll just know for sure. Alrighty. Looks like they're still clearing everything. So I loosened this fitting here so that we can kind of adjust the twist on that however we need to, and then we can tighten it down. And then this line will just come up and over, but I need to get a hose clamp for that first. So put a fuel injection style hose clamp on that. This is a steel braided line, so figured I'd put that on there to have a little bit of extra clamping force. That shouldn't go anywhere. So now I'll get that twisted how we want it to go. tighten down this fitting. Probably do a little clamp to hold those to the inner fender well so they're not jiggling around, but should be good to go. So on to the next. Got to put some of this in there so we don't forget and start it dry. Alright, so I've been wanting to try to figure out how to mount these brake master cylinder up here. Just trying to figure out how to get it all around the exhaust and all the brackets and everything and have it functional and work good. So I think if I mount it there or somewhere about there, it would work. It's just a matter of getting it mounted there. So I was originally thinking back here and kind of using that motor mount as one locating bracket. I don't know, I imagine it would work. Alright, so I've been scheming on how to mount the brake master cylinder. Kind of got it propped here in the spot where I want it to be. It's not quite leveled up and perfect, but it's pretty dang close. And then I've got a rod that connects, that's kind of in place, connecting it. But the problem is the rod runs directly through where the exhaust is coming out of the manifold. So you got the master cylinder mounted up here, and then got this rod running back to the brake pedal with the clevis. So that's pretty much, the clevis joint is exactly how it mounted up stock, just a new one. So as you can see, it runs right underneath the exhaust manifold. So rather than put a bend in this, like a Z-bend in this rod, to get around that, I'm going to build a bracket with a lever so that this rod can run straight forward past the exhaust and push, and then that in turn will push another lever straight. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this booster out, measure this hole here, cut a hole in this, and start building the bracket to bolt the booster to, in turn to bolt to the frame, in turn to hold everything where it needs to go nice and sturdy. So that's what we're going to do. We're start building bracket. Alright, so we got the brake master plate cut out, holes drilled, mounted to the booster. So I've kind of got it started in here because it's tricky to get it going in without scratching paint and doing all that stuff. So we'll show you kind of what we're thinking here. So where I made this rectangle, this top corner up here where my fingers are at needs to be rounded off because it's going to hit the oil pan if we leave it there. Basically what I'm thinking is I'll leave this side kind of square around that corner, you know, and basically get a bolt up here and a bolt down here to bolt into this motor mount. And then, so right right here is the stock motor mount. So then after I round this corner off up here, I'll basically build an angle bracket that kind of helps support this, and probably bring like a piece of 3/4 inch solid off of here that bolts to here and then drops down and bolts into that on the frame to keep this from twisting side to side. So I think with that bolted in there and 2 good bolts over here, it'll probably hold decent enough to make everything work. So that's going to be the plan. I ran out of time for the night, so I'm going to call it quits for now, and we'll finish this tomorrow. Alright, so we got the bracket cut out, got it fitting in here. I'm going to start drilling holes. Got to drill a hole there and there for a mounting bolt, and then that hole needs to be drilled out to mount the booster. And then, like I said, I'm going to build a mount bracket that comes from here forward to here to stabilize that from flexing this way. Hopefully we'll get this mounted in there, slide the booster in, and it'll clear everything like it was when I was just holding it in there. So fingers crossed. Got to get a couple bolts in it to hold it, and then we'll check it and see. We may have a change of plans. Been looking at this and how to get everything to line up, and I think I'm going to try to see if I can run this as a straight rod, just kind of on an angle. I might have to heat up this connection point on the brake pedal and kind of twist it a little bit to get so that that's not binding up. But I want to try that because after looking at the angle that I have in that exhaust donut and that, I think I might be able to shift the exhaust out and over this easier than I can route this around the exhaust. So, alright, we got that welded on and cooled off now. So, I'm going to screw it onto there, and then we'll look and kind of see what our angle is going to look like and see if it's going to give us some room around that exhaust and all that stuff. So this is our clevis pin, or not clevis pin, right? What's it called? This is our thing that we're hooking to the pipe with, and as you can see, they don't quite line up. And if I pull it over not straight, it's better. I'm wondering if I could heat this up and twist it over more so it's lined up. I think if we can do that, we can definitely make the exhaust work around this. But then this brake linkage is going to be interesting with the shift linkage. It's problem solving. That's all it is. I can't shift the pedal over any farther, or it will hit the transmission up here. Unless I shift this whole thing over and then bend the pedal back over to clear the transmission, because it is bent that way. So if I bent that straight and then slid it over, it would line this stuff up. I mean, I would like that. I mean, the more we can get that brake lever over there, the better we're going to be as far as clearing the exhaust and that. Wonder what our clutch pedal looks like. Maybe let's look at using our clutch pedal instead of our brake pedal. So this is the clutch pedal, and it has a keyway for it to lock onto that rod with. Wonder if we used this clutch pedal and then actually hook the clevis for the brakes through there. Interesting. Alright, so I've been doing some thinking, and what I'm thinking now, I tried to line up the clutch pedal, and it's not going to work because the way that the foot pad is offset, it hits the steering column, even when it's slid all the way over. So that's not going to work. Next option was to try to slide the brake pedal as far over as I could, run that linkage on an angle, and then I'd have to heat and band this piece over so that we clear the transmission, which is doable, but that's a lot. My next option is to cut this little thing here out of some 1/2" steel and weld it onto here and kind of recreate this on the other side, something like that, and then run the linkage off of this side and over and pretty much straight through. The only thing that that's going to do, though, the only thing I'm worried about that doing is it's going to be tight with our shift linkage. So, but I think the only thing I can do is try it and see what happens. I don't know any other option. So basically, that's what we're gonna do. Is we're gonna cut this piece out of metal, weld it onto there, see what it looks like, see how it works, and then decide if we can make shift linkage that goes around it or what we're gonna have to do with that stuff. So got that all welded up, ready to go. I'm just gonna let it cool down nice and slowly, and I'm gonna head in for the night. So we will see you tomorrow. Alrighty, so our brake pedal is cooled off because it's the next day. So anyways, got that fit on there. Looks like it's gonna fit pretty good. So we got to pull it out of here and see what it looks like in the truck. Looky there. The rod's even the right length already. That's pretty cool. That'll run right there, clear the exhaust. Now we just got to figure out shift linkage around it. So I probably will end up cutting about 1 inch off of that rod just so that we have adjustment here and we can drop this down below the floor level. But But as of now, I think that is gonna work. We can plan on using it like that. So we still have to build the support brace for the front of the booster bracket that we made that runs up to the front of it to support that backside. So we got to build that brace. We got to shorten the rod, weld the adjuster in for the hairpin, and then brake system and that stuff will be done. We just got to, after that, we just got to run hard lines and we'll have brakes. So that's pretty cool. So let's build this push rod, and then I can pull this grill shell back off. I just set it on there to kind of see how it was gonna fit in between the fan and the motor, and that looks like it's gonna fit good. Anyways, we'll pull that rod back out, cut about 1 inch off of it, and then get it to where we can start adjusting it and all that stuff, and should be nice and fancy. All right, we got some helpers in the shop now. Say hello.
Hi.
So anyways, we got the brake push rod welded together, shortened up, pretty well adjusted, I think, where it needs to be. So that's all fit up. We'll have to build our bracket here and then tighten that all down. And the brakes will be all done.
Yep.
Cool thing is today is his birthday. How old are you?
9.
9.
And soon Dad's gonna be making videos of motorbike.
Oh yeah?
Motorbike building, and I'm gonna be here in the shop with him. We got the motorbike right here.
So for Rooks' birthday, for his birthday, we ordered a bunch of parts to get this little motorcycle running. So
Dad, I thought
be prepared for that coming up in the future, because we'll have parts here in the next couple days. So if you want to, throw a happy birthday in the comments to this old kid here. So anyways, we got that all done, figured out. So we'll pull that out so we can paint it all up and get it fixed up, and then start building support brackets for the brakes up front. Alright, so this is the new pin that I made for the brake pedal pivot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to weld one end so that it only slides through one way, and then drill a hole through it for a cotter pin on the other end, so that this will stay in place. There's no way that it could come, even if it didn't have anything, there's no way that it could come all the way out, because it would move over about 1 inch and hit the tranny, and move over and hit the frame. So there's no way that we could really lose the whole pin, but we're gonna make it to where we don't even have to worry about it. We got the hole drilled in it. Now I got this 3/4 inch steel bushing that I'm just gonna slide over the end of this rod like so. Leave it indented in there, and then just weld around the inside of that. And that'll give it a nice collar to butt up against the brake pedal, and then we can drop a good heavy duty pin through that hole and it'll be ready for use. Alrighty, we got the brake pedal all put together, lubed up, assembled, painted, push rod, painted. I pulled the front clip off, or the grill shell off, so that we can get to this. Figure out we basically just need to build a bar that bolts on, has a tab to bolt on there, and comes back and bolts onto the corner of this there, just to hold that so it doesn't let it flop push around. Those bolts aren't tight, so once I tighten those up, it'll hold it pretty good, but I just want something to hold that back to resist the pushing of the brake pedal. Alright, so I'm just going to measure from that plate up to this hole to get a length, and then we'll know what we can do. 11.5 from the plate to the front of this hole. This hole's kind of oblong, so I'm going to measure to the front of this hole so that hopefully when we tighten the bolt down, it'll be tight against the front. We won't have to worry about it sliding around. But 11.5. So kind of what I'm envisioning is about the same thing as the push rod for the brakes. Just a piece of that tubing. Cut the head of a bolt off, stick it in the backside and weld it so that we can just drill a hole, stick that through, bolt it on the backside of this plate back by the booster, and then probably get a piece of heavier steel, weld a bracket, so that we can a flat-ended bracket on the end of that, so that we can just drop it over that, drop a bolt through this, and voila, have it done. So alright, so we just whipped up this little beauty. Just put a piece of angle iron, cut the bar on an angle so that we could get it kind of where we needed it to be. Welded a bolt on this side, so should be definitely strong enough, and then it'll just go in there and bolt down. So we just need to drill a hole here and a hole in that bracket where the booster is, and this stuff will be done. Alright, this is the plate we built for the brake booster. So this stuff, these bolts here, actually that bolt also bolts through the motor mount bolt, and then the brake booster mounts those four, and then this will mount there to the front, so it'll be all nice and sturdy. So one more hand fabricated piece for a cool custom vehicle. So we're gonna throw a little paint on these things, and then we can bolt them in. Alrighty, we got the brake brackets all painted and installed, so show you kind of what it looks like. So that's the plate that we built, bolts on there, and then this is the rod that comes forward that supports that up to here. So anyways, should be stout enough. Now we'll just hook up the brakes and put the master cylinder in, then we can put in the pedal and the linkage, and all that mechanical stuff will be done. So pretty good step, pretty good progress for today. Alrighty, we got it all put in. It's late at night, I'm tired, but we got it done, and I'm excited about that. So we got the master cylinder, booster, push rod, pedal. We got the whole shebang in there. So we'll have to pull the master cylinder off to bench bleed it once we get our hard lines ran. I don't want to bench bleed it right now, because if I do, I'm going to have brake fluid dripping everywhere, getting all over the paint and killing all that. So we're going to leave that how it is, get all of our hard lines ran, undo the 2 bolts, pull the master off the booster, put it on there, do that, and then we can throw it on and hook the lines up so we don't got fluid and all that crap everywhere. So anyways, I'm excited. So that's one big fabrication conundrum taken care of. Now we just got shift linkage is a big deal. We got to arch out the inner fender wells to clear the upper A-arms and the steering bracket. What else we got that's big fabrication? Exhaust. Finish the floors. Shorten the drive line. Weld all the cracks in the bed. Install the glass. Paint the interior. Build a seat bracket. Oh, my Lanta. There's still a lot to do. So, anyways, we're just going to keep plugging along. We want to get this thing done so we can use it. So, hopefully one of these days I can get a good long day in the shop and knock a bunch of this stuff out and make some good progress. So, anyways, it's looking good. Looking like a truck. Looking like something. So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate your support and you hanging out with us, and hopefully you're enjoying the videos. Drop a comment, let me know what we can be better at and what you guys are wanting to see as far as upcoming projects. We got a bunch of stuff slated, but anyways, we'll just keep plugging along and tackle one thing at a time. Thanks.